In this week's Torah portion, Tetzavah, we continue with the building of the tabernacle. All of these wonderful materials and supplies that the Israelites have brought together and offerings to God are becoming the tabernacle. But also in this week's Torah portion, we hear of what the high priest and the priests are supposed to wear, their ritual garb. And we are introduced to a very interesting concept, the Urim and Thummim. These two pieces that are part of the breastplate of the priest seem to be an oracle of sorts, an object that the Israelites can turn to when they're trying to determine God's will and trying to determine what is expected of them. We, of course, don't have these any longer, and if we did, they would probably seem a bit idolatrous. Our own text teaches us that we know God's will if we just look inside ourselves, if we understand, as the V'ahavta teaches us, that it is upon our hearts and before our eyes. Some forms of Judaism understand this to be the phylacteries, the tefillin that people would wear. Yet Rabbi Cohn's teacher, Hanan Brichto, teaches us that all we truly need to know is in our hearts and in our minds, that the V'ahavta teaches us that it is in our hearts and in our minds, as if it is before our hearts and before our eyes, that we know God's will and that we can put it into practice. So we think this week of the Urim and Thummim, but we know that we can understand God's will just by understanding the Torah in its own right in our own day.